Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Why?
Because she's black.
You don't like his language. You wouldn't say that he's Hitler, but you think he uses charged language.
Well, he's not Hitler yet.
He wants to institute a national abortion ban.
Not true.
Girl,
Again, not
I
true.
am not talking to you. I am talking to him.
It's not about people's skin color.
It's about telling the truth.
It's about telling the truth.
Well, I'm telling the truth is that stop demonizing the other. That's all I'm saying.
That's an opinion, but thank you.
You guys have a great day.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. Today, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, to talk to people about the presidential election with my good friend, Vince Dow. Vince, thanks so much for joining me today. Are you ready to get going?
Absolutely. I'm excited for this. Should be fun. Let's do it.
Let's go talk to some people. Huge shout out to our friends over at Patriot Coolers for sponsoring this video. Sir, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Kamala, please.
That's the wrong answer.
Trump.
That's right.
Donald Chisholm.
Right on. Is that a Magpul phone case? That's a Trump. That's a Trump vote.
I'm feeling Trump today.
Yeah, we're feeling Trump today or in general?
Just today.
Why just today?
I don't know. Today's just giving Trump.
Trump, 100%. Yep.
Who's gonna win Georgia?
I don't know.
I don't want to vote for now one of them.
Are those my only choices?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can write in. You can write in Joe Biden.
Kind of like Chase Oliver, personally.
Okay.
The libertarian guy?
Yeah. Okay.
That's just my personal choice. I don't really care for either of the two.
Donald Trump.
My hair.
We're going Kamala Harris.
I ain't gonna lie, neither.
Neither.
I ain't rocking
Okay.
with neither of
All
them.
right, we got a neither.
If I did have to choose though, I go Camilla.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Is she better for families?
I think so.
Team Kamala. Okay. Kamala. Okay. Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Why?
Because she's black.
Okay, a lot of ladies for Kamala over here. You going Trump?
Absolutely.
Is she the first woman today that's going Trump?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm not doing 4 more years of her. This is Rogelio de la Vega.
Rogelio de la Vega.
He's named after a telenovela star.
Do you know who he's voting for?
Well, I'm a childless cat lady, so Kamala is
You going
the obvious
Kamala?
choice. Yeah, I've already voted for her yesterday.
Does the cat agree, though?
Yeah.
The cat might be a secret Trump supporter. You'd have to
No.
ask. You'd have to ask.
No, he's definitely not.
Yeah.
He's Latino and he's gay.
He's Latino and he's gay, huh?
The gay cat.
For sure.
You got a gay cat.
Yeah. It runs in the family.
Yeah, so we're talking to people, actually, I mean, I've never been in Atlanta. We're talking to voters. Obviously, it's a crucial swing state. He's voting for Trump. I'm undecided at the moment. And then we're trying to figure out where people are leaning. So why are you voting for Kamala?
I'm sorry, I literally can't understand how you could be undecided. This man tried to start a freaking war with Canada.
With Canada? Excuse me, you and your big dog, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris.
Why Kamala Harris?
Oh gosh. Because I believe in the equal rights of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is she standing for that Trump's not standing for when it comes to equal rights for all people?
Yeah, so I am a nurse actually,
Yeah.
and so I've worked in the emergency department for like 5 years, and I think just the stance on abortion and everything.
He wants to institute a national abortion ban.
Not true.
Yes, it is. And also, they're pulling back.
Show me where he said that.
Girl,
Again, not
I
true.
am not talking to you. I am talking to him.
You're talking to both of us.
Well, then,
Well, no, you're fine. You're fine. Well, do you mind elaborating on those? The Canadian War. Thank you. I was like, if I say undecided, maybe she'll work with us on it. Try to convince me, right?
It's scary as a woman to think you could be in a situation where you know a pregnancy is not viable. You know a pregnancy is a danger to you, in conjunction with being non-viable, and you don't have a choice until it's too late or almost too late.
Right. When it comes to that, I mean, that's obviously an incredibly common position with many voters that are voting Democrat. I'm more Trump.
Okay.
But my response to that would probably just be, Trump's position and his administration's position has always been bring it back to the states. Do you not believe in, states' rights when it comes to people locally voting on what policies they want in their individual states? Do you not believe in people voting on that on a local level? And do you believe in just making that a federal kind of thing? You see what I'm saying?
I absolutely see what you're saying. And
is there something wrong with bringing it to the states?
I think so. When you're talking about the risk of a woman's life, I mean, that should be federal. I mean, that should be
Yeah, but okay, so you're talking about like a non-viable pregnancy.
Yeah.
And they're forced to carry that. Where is that happening?
In Georgia, actually, a woman died recently.
You're talking about the abortion pill one with the twins, is that correct? You're talking about Thurman, is that correct?
Yeah.
We, by the way, for everyone in the camera, we're getting dragged around by her big pup, which he seems like a very good boy, for starters. So we'll break the ice there. But that's Amber Thurman. She died because she took an abortion pill with twins. There was an infection, and she died because of that. So that's actually, look, I'm not trying to dunk on you here, right? I want to make sure I'm being as honest as possible. I can criticize Trump or criticize Kamala, but we want to make sure it's factual.
Yeah.
That is not because she couldn't get access to an abortion.
Right. Okay.
Did you know that, what I'm saying?
Honestly, no.
We're hearing a lot of women today saying they're going Kamala because of the abortion issue. What are your thoughts on that?
It should be up to the states, and
That's democracy, right?
and if you don't like what your state is voting for, then you shouldn't probably live in that state.
It seems as though the argument is take that right away, that right to vote away, and make it federal. That's a pretty aggressive position there, saying, no, you can't vote on that. We're gonna take that away from you, right? My president's gonna choose that for you, which seems slightly aggressive.
So you're saying she took...
An abortion pill. Sure, she literally died because she took an abortion pill.
Okay, that's a stretch. So
That's what the lawsuit and everything said. Basically, she went into septic shock because the abortion pill had complications. Hospital personally mishandled it, but it had nothing to do with pro-life laws or not. It's, medical malpractice. Sometimes people go to the emergency room and the doctors screw it up. But it wasn't because she was carrying and she had complications and they wouldn't get rid of the baby or whatever. It was because she took the abortion pill that gave her the septic shock. So I understand your position, but in this case, that doesn't have to do with lack of access to abortion, which in Georgia, it is in every state that has more pro-life legislation. It is legal to terminate a pregnancy in the case of a threat to the mother's life.
Well, you guys have seen it. Lines around the block of those big box stores, only to culminate with women fighting, all for the latest color drop of those TikTok tumblers. Patriots don't have time for all that nonsense. We have a country to make great again. Skip the line in potential fights and support a company that supports your values with Patriot Coolers. Patriot Coolers was founded with a commitment to give back, donating over $500,000 to homes for our troops. From their sales, every purchase helps support veterans in need. Not to mention, these coolers feature a striking design with 50 stars and 13 stripes, embodying the spirit of America and honoring our nation's heroes. These bad boys are built for the battlefield, not e-girl social media reels. Their tumblers and coolers are designed to withstand rugged conditions while also being perfect for everyday use, like going to the range or interviewing people in the streets or sitting on a bench. Sir, what do you think about that?
I think
or any of your other favorite-based activities. You can even take your cooler or tumbler to the next level with in-house customization available, allowing you to add a personal touch or brand it for your team or events. They offer a 10% discount for military personnel and first responders, showing their appreciation for their service and sacrifice. Visit patriotcoolers.com, and if you're not in the military or a first responder, use code JAMES for 10% off your entire order. Support companies that love our country as much as you guys do. Hit that link down in the description below. All right, let's get back into this video. Is there anything else that's important to you about Kamala Harris, or is that the primary one for you? Because a lot of people, they sell Project 2025, say there's gonna be a federal abortion ban. Look, these are lies. It's fake news, right? That's from the Heritage Foundation. They've been doing they've been doing policy platforms since 1981. It's not Donald Trump. Is there anything else that's important to you, though?
Just trying to...
Do you think the administration has done a good job the last 3.5 years when it comes to your dollar getting you further, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to foreign policy? How do you feel about it? Your honest opinion. Honestly, what do you think? This guy's voting for Donald Trump. What do you think about that?
I can't judge anyone who's voting. I mean,
That's fair.
whatever
That's fair.
you...
We're all Americans, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Donald Trump's literally Hitler, or you don't buy into that propaganda?
I think his propaganda, I think it's pretty charged language he uses. So I'll just say that.
Okay, so you don't like his language. You wouldn't say that he's Hitler, but you think he uses charged language.
Well, he's not Hitler yet.
Yet. Okay. He could be.
Yeah, I think it's possible. If he wins. If he doesn't win.
You know, we have heard many Democrats bring up how Trump more authoritarian. He could potentially be Hitler. I believe the lady said that. Potentially be Hitler if he's elected. What would you say to somebody like that?
I would laugh. No. I mean, he was already in office, and we didn't have any wars. Things were good.
Do you think he would gather, millions of people and exterminate them? What do you think?
Well, he did say he was going to go house to house with illegal immigrants, and he was going to go house to house to get them. So he did say that.
Well, ICE does that anyways, right? We deport people all the time.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
You don't believe in deporting illegal immigrants?
The people he's complaining about are legal and they are working here. They're not all criminals. I mean, come on, it's charged language that he uses, that everyone who's coming over the border is criminal, which is not true.
Well, what legal immigrants was he deporting during his first term? Because we had 4 years where we saw him as president, and first of all, there's no legal grounds to deport a legal immigrant who's a citizen.
Yeah, I agree with that. So why does he keep talking about them? Like he's going to get rid of them?
He doesn't talk about deporting legal immigrants. He talks about deporting illegal immigrants, right?
Well, he's also saying that the Ohio immigrants that are legal are illegal, eating pets and stuff, which is ridiculous.
They're not particularly legal immigrants. I mean, it's kind of semantic, but they are migrants who were given temporary protective status,
because they
which
needed
is
more
essentially
people to work in that area. So he was doing. I mean, whatever governor is doing good.
That's part of the CNVH program. So they bring in 30,000 people per month. There's also a CBP1 program that brings in another 30,000 people per month. So they kind of bypass the process to come into the country.
Yeah,
like you said, it's kind of semantics.
More workers to do the work that a lot of people don't want to do.
When it comes to Donald Trump, what do you like about Donald Trump?
Well, he's a businessman, and that's what we need. We don't need any more politicians in there. We need an actual businessman who can run the country from a business mindset. I love that he's off the cuff, and he doesn't need a teleprompter. He doesn't need to see questions ahead of time. He doesn't need somebody in his ear to help guide him. He says some stupid shit.
What are your thoughts about the rhetoric? I mean, it's obviously not too much of a negative for you not to vote for him. What are your thoughts about Donald Trump's rhetoric? Do you like it? What do you think?
I think it can be really ridiculous most of the time, but I also believe in his policies, and I believe that he can change the way things are right now.
Yeah. And you said you voted for Biden the last time?
I've been a Democrat my whole life.
So what was the point, if there's one, that made you change your mind on all this?
I don't want to live in this economy anymore.
For me, it was a 2-year journey. Before I left Atlanta, I had voted, blue. I've always voted that way. But I think what happened to me is just the problems are stacking up. And I'm 33 now. And, so this stuff is just getting a little bit more worse. And I think that we should just be all of, people in our range of age should start just making better decisions. And I'm not saying he's the, he has a lot of faults. I know Trump has a lot of faults, but I just think compared to where he was 4 years ago and where things are now, we just need a better, situation. And then once he gets in, he needs to learn how to work better with the other side.
If abortion were not a factor, pretend they had the same stances, outside of that.
I just
So why? If that outside of that, why? What record is showing you this is awesome? I'm going for 4 more years of it. You know what I mean?
I hear you, and I know you're going to disagree with me, and that's okay.
You gonna bring up the stock market?
No, I'm not going to bring up the stock market. I'm going to just bring up the fact that, I don't think he's a good human.
Okay.
At all. I think, yeah. I mean.
Do you mind if I ask you when it comes down to that, right? We've had a lot of world leaders in our country that people probably wouldn't describe as a good human nowadays. That's of course your opinion right there. But 10 to 15 years down the road, does policy matter more than somebody, making mean tweets? What's going to matter 10 to 15 years from now?
Yeah, it's not about the mean tweets. I want to clarify that. If he was just a keyboard warrior, that would be one thing. When you're the face of a country, when you're in charge of a country, with checks and balances, obviously, but I just think your intention matters. I really do believe that, and
Why is Kamala's intention superior to Trump's?
Because I do think she cares about people as humans. Like,
Did she care about the the people she locked up for marijuana violations and then laughed about it? Did she care about, heck, Joe Biden himself? Who she basically went on the debate stage and insinuated that he was a racist, and then when he called her up to be the VP, suddenly they're best friends.
yeah, that happens on both sides. That happens on both
correct,
sides.
but if it happens on both sides, then why is the moral character of Trump so superiorly bad compared to everyone else in our politics? Because I look at especially just the general political class that's run our country basically since we've all been alive, and I say, well, I see, George Bush, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all these characters in both parties. They've done plenty of bad things. They've invaded countries and killed hundreds of thousands of civilians basically just to enrich themselves and the defense contractors. So I don't see what about Trump is so exceptionally bad just because he's a little egotistical or rambunctious. Does that really triumph everything else?
That was back to my last question, 10 to 15 years from now.
Yeah.
You see why I was asking that question?
Yeah.
Is that a fair question, or you think I'm an idiot?
No, I don't. I don't think you're an idiot. I think that's a fair question, and I think 10 to 15 years from now, I may look back and be like, God, that was absolutely the worst decision I could have made for our economy. It was the worst decision I could have made.
I actually put economy almost last in this conversation,
So
to be totally honest
what are
with you.
you saying, I guess, what are you saying 10 to 15 years from now?
Well, you can do that. You can do that because home. I'm not saying it's not important when I say the economy. Over the last 3.5 years, if you want to touch on that, over the last 3.5 years, your income in order to purchase a home has jumped from $76,000 to $115,000 for the average American. Things are out of control right now.
So
but let's table that because we're talking about an
homebuyer
administration.
Policies that Kamala wants to put in place.
The $25,000 up front.
Yeah.
So economists are saying about that is what would happen? Okay, well, government's giving you $25,000 to buy a home.
Yeah.
Person adds $25,000 to their home.
Yeah. So if I
It's usually
don't,
what happens when you give out free money. It's just things just skyrocket. Do you mind if I ask, are you a registered Democrat?
Registered Republican now.
You are
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So you switched?
Yes, I did switch, yes. But like I say, the process of me switching was more like 2 years, research, seeing where I was at, where my community was at. Now, would I ever vote that way again? I don't know. But I would say right now, I was super excited when I voted for Joe Biden about the housing. And that just, I don't know what happened to that. It seemed like something easy could have been done, but it just kind of steamrolled to something else, for me.
Yeah, are you talking about the price of homes?
Well, he wanted to do the $20K for all first-time home buyers, and I felt like, millennials coming up, they can really get this done. It's a no-brainer situation, I think.
Which Kamala is now promising too, by the way.
Right, and that's kind of scared me too, because I'm like, okay, this is the same.
Are we going to trust that, right? Are we going to trust that this time around? What you're saying is something very similar to what I hear on the street all the time. Is you had 3.5 years, more than 3.5 years, to get some things done, right, for the American people. And not only, I think a lot of people are disappointed about that, but prices everywhere, whether it be automotive repair, whether it be rent, whether it be energy, has skyrocketed. I don't know if you own a home. I don't. The price of homes skyrocketing. Your average income has to be almost double now compared to what it was under Trump. And so a lot of people that are younger are kind of looking at this saying, well, hold on, life is now completely unaffordable in the span of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I get away from the economy really quick?
That's what I was going to do.
Okay, cool.
My
cool.
question is, what are you referring to when you say 10 to 15 years down the road?
Yeah. So I have looked at the last 3.5 years as an administration putting Americans last in every way, shape, and form. We had massive lockdowns, small businesses going out of business. People, their entire lives working for building up a company that went out of business because the government shut them down. Okay, not every single state had shutdowns. Florida was one where they didn't really have shutdowns, but you saw how many people were unemployed in 2020, and then in 2021, opening up the borders, allowing 3 million illegals to come in per year unvetted. So now we have criminal gangs coming over. We have no clue who they are. Massive percentage of them are from Venezuela. Venezuela's government doesn't work with us, so we have no clue who's coming across. So then you have situations like in Irondequoit up north in New York, where A family of 4 murdered by an illegal immigrant. This stuff is happening almost every single day, it seems
What about
like.
Colin Gray?
Which one's Colin Gray?
The student who just shot up the school in Georgia, the local school.
For sure, so the government,
saying,
federal and local, deals with crime committed by Americans. That's not a good argument for importing more crime. That's not supposed to be here in the first place. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to who's more caring, I seriously think that after a massive spike in unemployment, bringing in 10 million illegals on top of that, when people are dealing with housing crises, when people are dealing with job crises, all of this, I think that America Last position is disqualifying in every way, shape, and form. What do you think?
I think.
Is it a fair point?
Well, I just think this conversation's wrapping up.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
You've been great.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
It's like literally the worst presidency in American history, failing on every level, and people are like, let's do more of it. Do you support uplifting and revitalizing American communities for Americans over importing foreign labor? What do you think?
This has always been a country that accepts refugees. My dad was a refugee from World War II, and he came to this country and he loved this country. I don't know what he would think about it now, to be honest. But it was always open to people, the melting pot, kind of thing. And I don't think we hear about that anymore.
Right.
Well, open by structured and legal process. I mean, you can't just have people pouring over the southern border.
He's making blanket statements about everyone who was not born in the United States.
He's not. He says illegal people are here illegally.
Yeah, but
especially priority with
first of all, does he even know who's legal and who's not? He's not president right now, but he's just making blanket statements.
But that's when he's president, that's a policy he plans on implementing.
What's the policy he plans on implementing?
Deporting illegal immigrants. I mean,
okay. I mean, he tried. All right. I hope he doesn't become president personally.
Yeah.
What did you think when Barack Obama deported?
Country,
actually, what did you think when Barack Obama deported actually more illegals in his term than Donald Trump?
Yeah. We're not talking about Obama right now.
When it comes down to it, do you see it as more the compassionate position to allow illegal immigrants into the country? Unvetted?
I mean, this is a very complex. Unvetted?
Yeah. At the border, they're unvetted.
How do they vet them? Like,
They can't.
What do you mean they can't vet them?
They're not vetting them right now. So over the last 3.5 years, you get detained by CBP. Right, Customs and Border Protection.
Yeah.
And then you get brought into the country.
Well, like if you already have family in the country, there's a lot of those. Are they still legal or illegal?
Those if you're coming into the country illegally, crossing our southern border illegally, you're an illegal immigrant.
But I know some of the people coming across the border have family, and so they're going to join them.
Yeah.
We never hear the nuances of
process.
that.
We have like a legal process that you go through.
But we don't hear about the nuance. It's only like black and white, and I think it's a lot more nuanced than the discourse.
So,
I had a question about that, but I was going to ask. I mean, do you think that's the compassionate position, though? Over the last 3.5 years, there's been minimum 10 million illegals that have come into the country unvetted under this administration. Do you think that's a compassionate position? Should we just be opening up the border for people?
Well, we have at various times in the United States history.
Now, there's the worst border crisis in American history, and it's not even close.
That's because there's more wars going on in South America,
Even during World War I and II?
You're right, the El Salvadorian War, which Nicaragua, there's been a history of that, wars.
In this century?
Yeah.
There's so much that has happened in the last 4 years. I think the biggest thing, Americans is not getting enough airtime to the two wars. That's something that no matter if Kamala gets in or Trump, somebody's going to have to deal with that. And from what we were told, that this was kind of going to be scaled down, but as we get closer, it's getting more scaled up.
Right.
So I just think that Trump can come in and do what he did, peace accords, work with people better, and I just think he's just a better person to work with.
Right, and when you look at Kamala's record, her demeanor, etc., what do you think the issue would be with her negotiating with foreign leaders, going in with Xi, Putin, the leaders of Iran, and trying to have to broker a peace deal or some type of agreement?
I think really, I don't even think it's anything as much for her being a woman. I think we are there. I think we are urging to have different type of leadership. But I think her biggest problem would be is just being able to speak to why these wars has widened. Being able to
She can't answer a question on anything, right?
Yeah, it's tough for her to answer a question, but I think the widened wars is something that as we get closer, I'm starting to get more focused on, because there are things that I'm focusing on now as a voter that we're going to have to deal with depending on what side gets in.
Absolutely.
And I think with her it'd be hard because she was so much a part of that administration. It'd be hard to say, hey, we want to make a peace deal now, when it's kind of like, hey, we're already kind of in this bad situation to where we're, North Korea sending troops and all, Ukraine now. So I just think it'd just be tough for her to make those deals since she's a part of the old administration.
We're bringing people in by the millions each year under this administration. And you're talking about because of wars, but really it has to do with their policies week one, day one in this administration was undoing effective border policy and years of effective border policy, reinstating catch and release, all of these things. So, I mean, wouldn't you more have looked to the administration for the policy decisions over there being wars? Because there's always wars. What do you think?
Right, but I mean that's why people are coming over here. Also, there's more opportunity in the United States. There always has been more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's jobs that some people don't want to take, and they want those jobs. I mean, they always have. It's for decades.
What kind of jobs do they go for? You think like low wage, right?
Yeah, like low wage, restaurant, stereotypical ones.
Who do you think that
Construction.
disproportionately affects in the country? Low wage earners. Who does that disproportionately affect, if you were to guess?
Well, how many? Well,
if you were to guess.
Sorry, there was something else that popped into my head.
Brown and black communities in the United States get disproportionately affected by illegal immigrants flooding the country, working low-wage work. Drives down wages.
I don't know if that's totally true, and because they're saying there has been documentation about we need more construction, we need more housing, and usually Hispanics, let's just say brown people, will do those construction work
for low wage.
Well, they might get paid a little more.
What about giving Americans that opportunity?
Hey, if Americans wanted to do, we wouldn't have to. There wouldn't be anyone coming over. There's always been jobs here for non-Americans to come. There's always been jobs.
What about the communities that are struggling right now in the U.S.? We have communities in Chicago that are struggling, obviously. I'm sure you see it on the news. And the community leaders are coming to City Hall meetings saying, you guys are reallocating funds from our community, our struggling community, and giving tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, to illegal immigrants. They're protesting right now.
I don't agree. I don't think that's true. If they're illegal here, then they will get sent back. If they're here because they went through the legal and they have, what do you mean? They don't. They're not.
They get housing, health care. Some places they get debit cards. They get food.
They're working.
That's not true.
There are clearly some white Americans that don't want to do that job, that can't do those jobs, that are too old to do those jobs, those jobs are very, very hard. And I think there's a lot of white guys that don't want to do those jobs.
They're getting billions of dollars across the United States, billions of dollars per year of taxpayer money. Should we not be prioritizing Americans and uplifting Americans first?
What are you talking about?
All the benefits that they get, health care, they get housing, they get welfare in some states.
They're not getting welfare. They're working.
In some states, they're able to get benefits, yeah. And in fact, when we were talking about the CNVH program, they actually get federal grants, so they're getting money as well. So if we were to compare this to like the 1920s...
They're up in 5-star hotels in New York City.
Oh, come on, because they're doing friggin' work.
No, they're not doing work. Are they paying for the hotel themselves?
They're just, because they need people to do the dirty jobs in New York.
Let me tell you, they're not paying for those hotels themselves.
Well, you know what? I would like to go. I'm going to New York in a couple weeks. I would like to go and see what are you talking about?
I was just there. It's a big problem for a lot of people in the community.
No, okay. So are there pictures of these? So are there people loitering in these hotels? Are they just loitering there, taking free money from America?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
I don't believe you. I have to go fact check you. I'm going to fact check you. I do not believe
they're
that.
costing a minimum of $150 billion per year of taxpayer dollars.
What group is this?
I
want to know.
We have YouTube channels.
What is the name of your YouTube channel?
You can check it out. Mine's James Klug, Klug, and then his is Vince Dow.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just looking after Americans, trying to uplift communities, and we don't want to be stealing taxpayer dollars and giving them to foreigners that came to the country illegally.
I'm a child of immigrants, so it's a very sensitive subject.
You know, when it comes to your own life, your friends, your family, are they leaning in the same direction you are?
It's mixed. It's definitely mixed. This will be a split decision situation. It's gonna be hard.
They're definitely gonna go Kamala, so I guess I'm just gonna have to, be the change in my family's ways.
You're gonna have to deal with that at Thanksgiving, dude.
Yeah, I am.
Actually, I'm surprised that I have so many liberal friends. So I can't really talk politics with them. Yeah.
Family?
Family and friends, yeah.
Which historically, I'm sure it wasn't as mixed, right? It was more like
Yeah.
Democrat unanimously.
And I think you see that because you're going to have, and really right now it's a fight to the parties. Who's going to survive? Who's going to, do great things in the future? But I'm glad when I get out here with you guys, I'm glad this doesn't look how the government is crazy. I always tell people, like, if you went outside, you'll be like, damn, like, America's great. But then when you look at the government, you're like, America's f***ed up.
Yeah.
And it's only...
Love the country, hate the government.
They're inflating illegals.
What do you mean inflating illegals? What do you mean by that?
Inflating because it's like Donald Trump inflates stuff. He goes, "There's billions of immigrants here that shouldn't be here."
He uses hyperbole. I don't know if he said billions before though.
He's
for illegals.
always over exaggerating. I want to know the real people, like my parents that got over here, and because my dad was coming out of a war. So he got in because they were letting refugees in.
It was much different. He wasn't getting free housing, free healthcare, free food, debit cards paid for by
I
taxpayers.
don't know the details of that.
I'm Vietnamese, and my family's very personally offended by the fact that we did the legal process. Parts of my family had to wait almost 10 years, and now people are just coming across the border and being allowed to stay.
I think it's a more nuanced discussion, and
what do you disagree with? What he's saying right there?
I am not an expert at this, but I watch a lot of news. I pay attention.
What news are you watching, if you don't mind me asking?
I try to get the whole gamut. PBS NewsHour is really the most balanced news report, so I do listen to that. I watch that. I watch CNN. I watch some Fox. MSNBC. I mean, but again, there's so much hyperbole going on. The language right now is very heated.
The numbers from Customs and Border Protection, including gotaways, you're looking at comfortably 10 million illegal immigrants.
The illegal immigrants. You're only, discussing.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. Just to clarify.
Well, I don't really want to talk about this subject anymore. I'm not an expert at it.
It's okay.
I'm not an expert.
I mean, were you aware that many people came across the southern border illegally over the last 3.5 years? Over 10 million?
I don't know which are illegal, which aren't illegal. There's not any clarification.
Those numbers are from Customs and Border Protection.
Okay, then I will go look that up. I'm just taking your word for it.
Of course, ma'am. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You are just taking my word for it. But let's assume that I'm correct there. Is that a bad thing?
What would be about? Because they're coming here and they're taking welfare. Is that what you're saying?
Not just resources from American communities. There's crime. There's all sorts.
There's not crime. They're the least likely to cause crime.
75%, according to NYPD, 75% of crimes in Midtown Manhattan right now are illegal immigrants.
I don't believe that.
You can look it up.
That.
That's from
that's
from New York Police Department.
I walk a lot on my own in different cities, and I'm definitely more scared of. I'm not scared of black or brown people for committing a crime against me. I'm scared about everyone else. Right. So I do not like that language that they're all criminals. I do not like that.
I didn't say that. I just said they're disproportionately represented in certain places in the country.
What kind of crime are you talking about?
We're talking about robberies. Robberies are a very common thing in New York.
I do not believe you. I will have to go look that up because I think there's a lot
I never said all of them.
over-exaggerated. We need to calm down the language, and this is not helping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are being killed by illegal immigrants, and so it's been a problem that are being let into the country illegally under this administration. I care about those Americans.
I know. What else?
Do you?
I mean, I don't want to have this discussion anymore.
Do you care about those Americans?
The people that have died because someone has murdered them? Yes.
That are in the country illegally let in under this administration, letting them just roam across the border.
Every administration they came in during Trump too. Because Obama came, everybody...
Not even close to the same numbers, about 7 to 8 times as much.
There's more people coming here. Because there's more construction.
Under this administration.
Look, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I think we've got to keep the language not so heated. And not to demonize
what I'm saying is correct.
The other. Not to demonize the other is very, very scary and wrong.
But the truth is very important.
No, the truth is demonizing other people is causing more anguish.
I'm not demonizing them. I'm telling
Yes,
you the
are.
facts.
You're saying they're
I'm-
all criminals.
That's not what I
what
said. You've said that repeatedly, and I've said repeatedly, no, I'm not saying that, and Trump didn't say that
Why
either.
did you bring that up?
You brought up all criminals.
No. Why are you talking about maybe the few times there were murders?
No, it's constant under this administration.
Oh my God. I can't talk to you anymore.
okay.
That is so not true. That is so not true.
Please look it up. It's
I'm going to,
the
because
numbers
I
are
do
staggering.
care about this country, and this needs to stop. This language
You're good.
that is very demonizing of the other. That is
I'm
wrong.
simply just telling you the facts here.
Well, I'm telling you.
I'm
the
not trying to be.
facts.
I'm not trying to be rude or offensive. I'm simply telling you.
cannot demonize
Give me the
other
facts.
people. The facts are, in this country, it's a very prejudiced country that is always against the other.
I'm
in some
with a minority
ways.
right now, and I have no problem with it. It's not about people's skin color.
It's about telling the truth.
It's about telling the truth.
Well, I'm telling the truth. Is that stop demonizing the other? That's all I'm saying.
That's an opinion, but thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are running into a decent amount of Trump here. Okay. So that's what's pretty interesting. I think it's probably around 30% of Atlanta area went to Donald Trump in 2020. If I had to guess, we'll have the stats pop up, but just from what we've seen and looking at the polls, it seems to reflect that, where it's kind of 50-50. It seems pretty
Is that what you're
pretty
getting
even.
Today in your
Yeah,
whole interview?
yeah.
It's like 50-50?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be... I was really excited when they were going to hand count the votes, because I think they cheated last time, for sure. I didn't think that back then, but as the 4 years have gone on, my eyes
don't have
just...
You don't have much
I'm
faith.
no longer woke, I'm awake.
Yeah, no, it's a tough situation, but I love these type of settings because we all kind of just get to talk and just be live. But I just think Trump 2024, I think it's a better option. I don't think it's the all-in be-all. I think we have a lot of issues. That's the thing. I think we need to look more into our Congress and our House. But now, if you're out there, you're 20 to 40, start making them decisions. Don't let people 50 or 60. They're already out of the game. They already got houses. They already got investments. Right. You need to be focusing on your future and really taking it there, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to pay them bills, brother and sisters. Nobody's going to make sure you eat. You got to make sure, but also do it with grace and try to connect with your community. It's hard to do sometimes, but we got to do it.
All right, everyone, that is it for today. So you guys, we had some pretty interesting conversations today, and it seemed pretty 50, Donald Trump versus Kamala. Vince, how do you think the conversations went today?
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind we're in a very blue area, so if it was splitting close to 50-50 and the rest of Georgia's pretty red, obviously, that might be a good sign for us. But I thought it was interesting, too, the demographics, right? Women, as you probably hear in the polls and the media, all this stuff, overwhelmingly with Kamala because of the abortion issue, but men especially, this is very interesting, young black men, we're hearing some of those rumblings. They were pretty unanimously pro-Trump in this video, and we usually hear they're low-propensity voters, but a lot of them said, I have a plan to vote, I'm voting Saturday, like I'm going to go do it. So it should be interesting to see what happens. Make sure you vote, though, by the way, watching this video.
That's right, you guys, make sure you vote. Make sure as well to go subscribe over to Vince's YouTube channel. Hit that link down in the description below. Show him some love. Vince, thank you so much for hanging out today. You guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe for more videos, and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next to my post. And I'll catch you all in the next video. How we doing? You are so fast. Well said, thank you.